In this video, I'm sharing with you 15 secrets about Apex Legends. There's many things in Apex that are just simply not widely known among the majority of the player base. Some of those things are about legends, weapons, maps, or even the lore. But for the making of this video, I wanted to come up with the ones that offered you all the most value in terms of how often it would be viable and how relevant it is for the foreseeable future. These things should help you become a better player through becoming smarter than your competition. So let's get into it. The first secret is something called aim punch. This occurs when your armor gets cracked, and it's this little flinch in your aim that your legend will experience. This can make it ever so difficult to shoot back depending on the weapon you're using or the sight you have on that weapon. Aim punch also occurs when you're in the storm. It's that little tick you consistently feel in there. And if you haven't noticed this yet, you definitely will next time you're taking storm damage. I think it's Apex's way of signaling to players that health is important and being low on it will ultimately get you knocked. So you're in some trouble if you're on low health. Now on the topic of health and shields, let's talk about secret number 2. Number 2 is in Apex, you always want to prioritize healing shields over health, unless you're, taking tons of storm damage. But shields will heal you quicker and they will prevent that aim flinch we just talked about. In a regular BR match, Apex will spawn you in with a white Evo armor, 2 syringes, and 2 shield cells. And if you guys are familiar with the little heal icon in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you will notice it leaves it on syringes when you come into the game. Now, if you get shot quickly after landing, this is one more step to healing that slips players up. I know this seems like a small thing, but I can tell you from coaching players, it gets them killed often. So make sure you always switch this to shield cells as soon as you can. And throughout the game, if you have shield batteries, this is what I would leave the heal wheel on. The only exception to this is if you play on mouse and keyboard and you have a keybind for each healing item. So for my controller players and the mouse and keyboard players who don't have keybinds like this, you're going to want to be very conscious of this going forward. I'm unsure if this is a bug that Apex just never realized, but it's definitely something 95% of players don't do. So keep in mind what the healing icon is on in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Number 3 is that all bullet types slow the same. I know when I first heard this being revealed by a former dev, it felt hard to believe because it definitely seems like heavy ammo or energy ammo slows you more than say light ammo does. But apparently they all slow the same, and the exact way the bullets slow in Apex works is getting hit by a bullet slows you by 10% for a quarter of a second, and this can happen only once every 3 seconds. Now obviously Gibby and Caustic are exceptions to this secret as they have a passive called Fortified and they are not slowed by bullets. Secret number 4 is when you are outside the circle, it will flash on your minimap, and when you're inside of it, it doesn't flash. This is extremely useful for these small endgame circles that you will get into probably in a ranked match. But making these micro decisions to determine what's playable and what isn't will help you become a better player. Now you can also ping things you see in front of you and then reflect on the minimap if it looks like it's going to be in that next circle. And this is extremely helpful if you're trying to play the very edge of the circle, but it's unclear if that little spot is in or not. If you've ever watched a high-level ranked match or even a competitive game in Apex, you will see how players utilize this feature often. Number 5 is if you want to craft your Evo armor to level it up, well, it will fully reshield it, even if it's broken. Now, this can save you some precious shields if you don't have many in your inventory. So anytime your armor's broken and you want to go level up your Evo armor, it's a free way to get a battery off on it too, basically. Secret number 6, when you pick up a weapon, it will do its unique weapon animation. The wingman spins on your finger, the peacekeeper cocks one into the chamber, etc. So let the weapon pickup animation finish before holstering it. Otherwise, if you don't, when you go to pull it out during a fight, it could cost you your life because the gun is then doing the animation in front of the opponent while he's gunning you down and you're spinning a wingman on your finger. Now this is very common on mouse and keyboard as the input is just faster than controller, but it can apply to both, so don't get caught slipping. Secret number 7, when you knock someone, there's a large difference in the pitch of the down sound effect based on how many members of the squad are left. 2 members left, there's going to be a higher pitch. 1 member left, it'll be a lower pitch. This is something that could really come in handy if you familiarize yourself with these different sound effects. It can basically give you free info on the status of the team you are currently fighting. Number 8, there's only a handful of guns in Apex that can actually open the doors, as long as someone isn't straight up blocking them, that is. The weapons that can open doors with their bullets are the Wingman, Longbow, Sentinel, Kraber, L-Star, 30-30, And obviously a charged Rampage or Rampart Sheila turret straight up destroys the door. Now, most opponents will get confused when you pop a door open with, say, a wingman or something, because most people just don't know that they do this. And it could also assist you if you wanted to toss a few grenades in, or potentially they peek the doorway and you had already shot the door open and you've got them in your line of sight now. It's a little underrated tip that not too many people tend to know. Secret number 9. Most players will be surprised about this movement's secret. Besides Horizon and her passive, every other legend experiences a brief stunning effect when they fall from height. Now, it's usually minuscule. However, if you're falling in front of an enemy, it can ultimately be the big difference maker between who gets to shoot first in the fight. However, Valkyrie is able to negate this stunning effect by activating her jetpack passive right before she's about to touch the ground. This is honestly an underrated aspect in what ultimately might be the best legend in all of Apex right now. Number 10, the car SMG's sight moves up and down while you crouch with it. And this isn't true for other weapons. I tested this as well in the firing range, and it's almost like the gun is wobbling during the crouch movement. There were only 2 other guns that did something somewhat similar, and those were the Volt and the Sentinel, but they didn't do it nearly as bad or as much as the car. Now, this seems to be a bug that has messed up the weapon model while you're moving with it. But the car is the strongest SMG right now, you know, not including the Volt and the care package, so I'm not sure how big of a deal this is, but to me it always felt like this gun was a little off, and I think I discovered why. Secret number 11, Gibby's gun shield cannot be stuck with arc stars. It bounces right off for some odd reason. But I'm gonna throw in another little secret about Gibby. He can basically eat a whole grenade explosion with his gun shield, and this doesn't usually do the carry through damage like it does with a bullet. This is a unique thing for Gibby because it's almost like it's a bug that they failed to change before his gun shield started to do the carryover damage. But if you are playing Gibby and there is a frag grenade or an arc star that is close to you and your teammates, Gibby can basically block the whole grenade explosion with his gun shield. And this is pretty OP. You will see it be done in a lot of competitive matches, as Gibraltar is basically mandatory for every team at this point. Secret number 12 is basically 2 secrets in one, and they're centered around Mirage. See, Mirage decoys won't have an heirloom equipped, and that could be a telltale sign as to who the real Mirage is. However, I'm not sure how useful this is, as most of the time if you're worried about a decoy, well, he'll probably have the gun out instead of his heirloom. But still, it is one little secret that a lot of people don't know. But here's the other one, and this one's a bit more useful. Mirage footstep audio is deliberate. It's part of his kit. I know a lot of people clown the Mirage audio footsteps, saying like, wow, they made decoys sound louder than actual people, but Apex did that deliberately. They wanted you to be able to hear the footsteps loud and clear, and that would be a sure way for you to get bamboozled. So if you hear loud footsteps, it's probably the decoy. Number 13, on Octane, when you're healing with a med kit or a Phoenix kit, always use your stim just before the heal completes. This way you get a free stim that is instantly healed. Secret number 14, there's 2 types of reload animations in Apex. One is when you use the full magazine, and one is when you use any amount before the last bullet. When you extend the full magazine, there will always be a longer reload animation for the weapon to do. Usually the animation resembles cocking a bullet into the chamber or something similar. The other animation doesn't add that last part to it though, so always try to reload your weapon before you get to empty the magazine. And yes, notice how I said magazine and not clips for all you Bangalore mains? I know that really presses you when someone says clips. Secret number 15, you can put heat shields on tridents. You kind of have to put it underneath the trident for it to stick, but it could be a helpful way for you guys to avoid taking a lot of ring damage if you are making a super late rotation with a trident. The only downside to this is you can't really see too well while you are driving a trident with a heat shield on it. Last but not least, if you're wondering what the secrets are to stop making bad decisions in Apex, well, I suggest you click on this video here. Thanks for watching. Peace.